Hey, family. If you and your spouse or partner are struggling during this time of quarantine as we grow through the COVID-19 pandemic, stay tuned for
5 tips to help your relationship survive COVID-19.
Yes.
Coming up next.
Stay tuned.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Soulful Conversations with Frank and
Sheila Battle.
We hope everyone is doing well.
As well as
Can be. Hey, we wanted to come to you today. We're just kind of adjusting as we're sure many of you are, and we have been having some conversations and decided that we would come up with a podcast fitting for the times that we're in.
Yes, we want to especially shout out everyone who has been affected by COVID-19. Our thoughts and our prayers are with all of you, those who have been impacted by the virus and those who have been diagnosed with the virus, because we know that impact isn't always a diagnosis. Some of us are being caregivers for people who have been infected, and that has impacted how we live. This quarantine has just been something.
Yeah.
Working from home, kids are home, everybody is in the house.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And I was reading an article, I think it was in CNN or some magazine, where they were talking about the effects that this time could have on relationships.
Yeah, this has been an incredible time. And for some, we know firsthand, just from the people who have been reaching out to us, that this has really been a struggle.
Yeah.
You know, the routine of daily life keeps us in other circles throughout the day. So we get a break from each other. We get a break from our spouses, our partners, our families, and have interaction with other people. Well, all of that has been like dropped to the bare minimum right now.
Yep.
And so those relationships with people whom you are supposed to be the closest to have been impacted, like magnified, like problems have been magnified, bad communication has been magnified, and all of that. So again, like my husband said, we just wanted to get on and offer you 5 tips
to help
for how to survive COVID-19.
Because we want to help.
Yes, we're here to help.
We just want you to know we're surviving. And so our first tip is one that, with everything that we do from the moment we begin to, even before that, before we start doing podcasts or anything, social media, before there was a Facebook, it was a thing of just communicating. You have got to communicate, especially when you're in the house with the person you're in a relationship with. Communication is very important.
And I think that we shouldn't just gloss over that, because even when my husband and I started talking about this list, I was like, communicate? Like, I feel like we talk about that all the time. But the truth is, being quarantined is still different. This is just a different animal, right?
Yeah.
And so this idea around learning your partners or your family members' communication styles, learning that silence is also a form of communication, and being able to just give each other a minute. So like if you've been on Zoom calls all day and conference calls all day and all of that, and your spouse is in one room working and you're in another room working and the kids are in the den working or in the dining room working, there's all of those expectations about what happens after the work hour are still there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes what everybody needs is 15 minutes of grace. Like, okay, we all been in the house, everybody's been working or Netflixing or doing whatever, but we're going to take 15 minutes and turn everything off in the house. We're just going to give everybody a minute, and then we can communicate better about, okay, what does the evening look like, and what does tomorrow look like, and what do we need to get from the grocery store, and just all of that stuff. So the communication, I think, is well worth mentioning again. But alongside that, the style, the how of communicating is going to be really, really important. And this is a great time for you and your family members to talk about what works for each person.
Right.
What works for each person and what doesn't. Like we have one kid where she wants FaceTime. She wants us and I mean nose to nose. Like she wants to be in our face, and that's communicating with her. That's communicating love. That's communicating protection. That's communicating that we're here and we love you and we got you and it's going to be all right. Our other kid,
Yeah.
not so much.
But this communication thing, I mean, it's a time to check in on one another.
Absolutely.
Don't
assume.
Don't assume. If
Don't
you
assume
if
that
you
everybody's
want,
good.
if you make it a practice before of sitting down and having dinner and conversations. I mean, if you didn't do it, now's a great time to do
start,
it. To kind of check in. Just say, how are you feeling? You can check, mentally, physically, spiritually. It's a time to check in because we're spending a lot of time together, and so we want to make sure that everyone's doing well in the household.
Yeah. The other thing I think is being mindful of each other's emotional, mental capacity to handle all that you want to communicate.
Yeah.
Everybody has capacity and everybody's capacity isn't the same.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we had to do was not overload our kids with information and encourage them not to overload on information that's out here on social media and the news, because what we're not going to do is live in fear. Right. And so just having that perspective about current events and, things that leaders are doing or not doing, and the role of social media in all of this, just to have that conversation about, what is all of it? How are you doing with all of this?
Yeah.
And is it too much? And or what do you need to know? Or what do you want to know? And answering those questions again, like my husband was saying, dinner time can be restored.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, we all ate together. Well, you didn't eat. You had to be at the table when by the time my father sat down, everybody should have been at the table. And I know that's old school and I'm dating myself, but this is an opportunity for us to get back to some basic things in the home that worked before busy took over.
Yeah. And even if it's just you and your partner or your person you're in a relationship with, great time just to sit down and just talk. Just have a good old-fashioned conversation.
With no electronic devices in your hand.
Yeah, put them in the middle of the table.
Put them in the middle of the table or put them in another room on the chart. Say, everybody come on, charge your phones and let's eat.
Yeah.
And sit down and have a conversation with each other. So yes, it's absolutely an opportunity for that. Yeah. So that was number one. Number one was communicate, because I don't think that we can have a podcast or have a soulful conversation about relationships and not talk about communication. So there you go. So number two.
Go for it.
So number two is respect the need for space. Jesus.
Whether your house is big or small.
Whether your house is big or small. And this is absolutely true if you live in a 1-bedroom efficiency or if you live in a 5,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
Respect each other's need for space.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? It could look like when I go in the bathroom, don't knock. Don't come in. Like if you have a small apartment, we used to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so that's why I can say that. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and because my husband is 6'4", he could put one hand in the bedroom, one hand in the kitchen, 1 foot in the bathroom, and 1 foot in the living room, and literally that was the whole apartment. But in these times that we live in, we really do need to establish some boundaries that allow for a timeout, that allow for people to just have some space where they're not feeling like everybody is on top of everybody and you can hear everybody's conversation and everybody's everything all at the same time, right? Yeah. If you're in an efficiency where you're like all in one big room and that can't necessarily be avoided, it can be avoided through boundaries, right? So if somebody just needs a minute, then maybe they just need to go in the kitchen and then you just need to go sit at the kitchen table or go in the kitchen area and just sit there and nobody else come.
Yeah.
Just put a sign up sheet, put a schedule up. The tub is a great place. The tub is a great place to escape. And so what we just want to encourage is that alone time is still important, even for us extroverts who are struggling.
Yeah.
My husband is an introvert and I'm an extrovert. And this whole idea that I can't hug nobody and I can't go see nobody and can't nobody come over here. Yes, babe. and I do. But the babies I'm talking about, because they're still texting and calling like,
Yeah.
Auntie, can we come? Auntie, can we come? And
It's
everything in me
rough.
wants to say,
It is
oh, just
rough.
let them come. Just let them come. But we want to obey the laws of the land, and we want to honor and respect what the medical community has said. So this alone time is multifaceted in its benefits because actually we don't need to be in each other's faces as
Right,
much anyway.
right.
And so from a mental health perspective and an emotional wellness perspective, let's just protect one another's space and alone time. And if you that mama that just got to get up at 5 just so that you can get that alone time in and do what you got to do. So
Yeah.
be mindful of that. Family, take care of each other in that way,
And it works.
and it works.
So number 3 is loosen up and make it fun. Why are you sighing?
I just know he gonna do something weird with my
No,
face.
no, actually I'm not. No, I'm not.
Because I am serious. I am prone.
She serves. She serves.
I am. Oh, I didn't mean to clap in the mic. Sorry. I am, and it's not intentional. It's just my nature. Like my nature is to be curious and ask all the questions that nobody else is asking because they too busy laughing and making a joke.
A joke.
But my husband is silly, and he is prone to do something funny first, even if something serious is called for. He's prone to do something funny first, just to break the ice.
Yeah.
And it's his way of letting us all know that everything is going to be okay. And so our kids are used to that, and they love
they
it.
do it. They
but,
do it.
But they fall right in it.
It's
and
a
then I
wonderful
walk away.
thing.
I walk away.
And they'd be like, Mom, we're just playing.
So in that vein, because mental health and emotional wellness are so critical during this time, every opportunity that you have to lighten the load for each other, take it.
Yeah.
Every time an opportunity presents itself to laugh, to play, to pull the seriousness, the sting of seriousness out of. And it doesn't mean that you don't acknowledge that what is happening
Right.
is serious.
Right.
That's not what we're saying. But if you can leverage that, if you can balance that with some fun, we have board games. Our kids been trying to get us to play board games all week, so we're going to do that.
We do Uno.
We do Uno.
Yeah.
We're a big Uno house.
Yeah.
Like we smack them cards down like dominoes. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But anytime that you can insert something that makes this memorable, not just because of the pandemic, but memorable to you and your family. There are jokes that my kids are going to have coming out of this that they wouldn't have got had this all not happened.
Yeah.
Right? So there are always ways to make a memory. And so we want you to make it, lighten this up, lighten it, especially for you that have young kids.
Yeah.
Like we got friends that got young kids,
Yeah,
and they don't really know what to make of all of this.
But like our little brother and sister,
We go out them.
We go out them. Should we say their name?
Yes.
Tia and Don Smith.
Tia and Don.
They have
beautiful baby
They
girl.
have a beautiful baby girl, Gia.
Gia.
And I think the karaoke mic is Gia's. Is it?
It showed up today, I think. So they ordered a karaoke mic.
Yeah.
And at first, Tia was saying, well, Tia was saying, pray for me, because my husband is getting ready to act a fool with this karaoke mic. But now they getting ready to do some Ashford and Simpson, and she's like, pray for baby Gia.
It's probably
because
going
now
on.
Gia is got to listen to them sing all the songs.
It's probably
because they
going
music
on.
babies like us.
Yeah.
So now Gia got to sit there and listen to her mom and daddy sing all the duets from the 70s through now.
But those
So pray for baby
those are
Gia.
some wonderful.
But that's a way
memories.
that you can make it
Memories,
light. That's a way that you can
And have
lighten the
fun.
load
Yeah.
of
And making
what's
it fun.
going on. Yeah. So that was a good example. So
Yeah.
thank you, Tia and Don, because y'all helped us with the podcast.
Sorry, we outed you.
We outed you. So loosen up.
So we got number 4.
Establish routines.
Why your face look like that?
Because I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own hours.
Yeah.
I can just flow as the day leads. There's no, you have to be right here at this time. But establishing a routine, and our friend Alvin Folks said something about this today. He said, he still put on cologne. Like every day, he's still putting on cologne. So whatever your routine it was before,
Really, Alvin?
yeah, because you got to smell good. You got the smell good. You don't know who's gonna knock on the door. But anyway,
You ain't coming in.
nobody should be nobody should be knocking on the door because he's quarantined. But I mean, just that whole idea of keeping as much.
I get it.
I don't want to say the word wrong. Normalcy.
Yeah.
As you can. So whatever you were doing, establish a routine that's as close to that as you can, so that you can still maintain some level of continuity.
Yeah.
Now, for some of us, we have to establish new routines.
Right.
So like my new routine is I get up and I walk 3 miles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it every day, y'all.
And I go with her.
Yeah, because he don't want me out there by myself. But which is great. Thank you, babe.
And even the kids did it today.
And even the kids went for a run today. And so here's the other thing about that, because I know I don't want, please don't fill our inbox with, why are y'all out? Why are y'all out? Everybody needs some fresh air. I don't hear anybody saying from the medical community, don't get some fresh air. What I hear them saying is practice social distancing and don't go places where you know there are going to be lots and lots of people.
Right.
So we live in an older neighborhood. We just saw our neighbors who were in their 80s the other day and wanted to check on them. So that was great. But get outside. Like, our neighbors are in their 80s and they know we need to go outside. Like, we just need to go outside and breathe some good air and stand on our deck and then come back in.
Get some vitamin D.
Get some good vitamin D, because it will help with your mood.
Yeah.
Hello, it will help with your mood. So they went for a run. They went and ran 2 miles and came back.
Not our old neighbor. Let's make that clear.
No, not the neighbors, the kids. I'm sorry. I done skipped all over the place. The kids went for a walk-run thing today. Yeah, because that would be a miracle. I would get outside and tape that. They're so cute. Our neighbors are so cute. They've been married 65 years. They are adorable. But yes, please establish new routines. Now is the time for you to do all those things that you said, if I had time, I would do, like exercise, like eat right, like meditate, like pray. Like, so maybe that's a new routine because you had it in your mind that you always wanted to do it. And maybe you were sporadic in doing it. Like, you do it consistently for Lent, or you do it consistently during the holidays, but then you get off track.
And please be safe while you're out still. Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's number 4, which is establishing a routine. And number 5 is don't push for sex.
Don't
push.
I was going to say, have all the sex that you and your partner collectively want to have, but don't push for it. Yeah. Because everybody's emotional capacity is not the same. Right. And everybody's coping mechanisms aren't the same. Yeah. And so for those who are in, and I'm not going to assume that this is men, but for the partner in the relationship that has a higher sex drive, all of this stress sex might be the way that they deal with that. Right. While you're with a partner who is freaking out and having anxiety and wants to manage that stress a different way, right? If you are pushing it and you're doing it out of boredom, to fill time, because you're just feeling stressed.
You ain't got nothing else to do.
You ain't got nothing else to do, so,
don't
do that. Because then it becomes a labor. Yeah. It becomes an act of labor and not an act of love. And so... for those of you who are partnered, who are booed up, and who are in a physical relationship, just please be mindful that, everybody's drive sexually might spike in times of stress, and libido might drop low in times of stress. And so this goes back to number 1, which is communicate. Have the conversation. Yeah. Have a conversation. If you had a pretty consistent, sex life before all of this happened, and you don't have a problem with following, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday morning, if that's your routine, then keep doing that. But if being connected and being close in that way is alleviating stress for both of you, then that's a conversation that you should have. And it's not one partner. Yeah. Every time you turn around, somebody humping on you. Yeah.
And you want to have you definitely want to have a conversation, because you don't want to nag or shame your partner. Yeah. You don't want to do that. Nagging and shaming and kind of having to do it under duress is not enjoyable. Yeah, it's not.
And if you've had a rocky sexual relationship prior to the pandemic, this is a great time to change that and create a safe and comforting sexual and relationship with your partner. Like now is the time that you really could have those conversations about, pleasure,
Yeah.
about appetite and about desire.
Yeah.
And so please, please, please take this as an opportunity, especially, for those who have been married a while and have gotten in a routine about
Right.
when you're physical, how you're physical. This is a great time to explore and to do,
Yes.
yes, all of that.
Right.
As long as you are consenting, yes, explore and do all of that. Because you don't have the stress of, oh, I gotta get up and go to work in the morning, or whatever the extra, I don't want to say excuses, because some things are absolutely valid, but whatever the things that prevented that before, those might be out of the way now. And so this is a good time to
Right.
have those conversations about what pleases you, right?
Yeah.
About what
And
pleases
just
you.
to kind of go back what you said earlier about if you had a rocky sexual relationship before all of this, now is a good time to communicate and work on healing that.
Yes. Healing.
Just
I love
work
it.
on healing that
Yes.
because you can't jump right into it to do it.
Well, all right,
You
man.
can't. You just have a
shouldn't.
conversation. You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
People jumping right
You
into
really
all kind of
should.
stuff.
So
And we are excited about all the babies that's coming in 9 months. Well, I am excited. So you all be fruitful
yeah.
and have as many babies as you can afford, and I will play with them.
And so to recap our 5 tips. Number 1 is communicate.
Yes.
Number 2,
Respect the need for space.
and number 3 is loosen up and make it fun.
Number 4 is establish some good routines.
And number 5 is don't push for sex.
Don't do it.
So,
Have some, just don't push for it. Okay.
so we thank you all for taking time to listen to us or watch us on YouTube. We really appreciate you. And this is a good time for you to, if you listen to this, or if you're at home or you clean the kitchen or whatever you're doing, good time to tell your partner, I love you.
Yes.
Good time to do that.
To start doing that or to restart doing that.
Yeah. Or thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, babe.
Thank you.
That was good.
Yeah.
We try to work on that all the time.
Yeah, we
I
do.
love you and thank you every day. And you know what? Some of that resurrecting those routines is resurrecting those old routines, those things you used to do, those cute pet names that you had for each other that you used to get up on Saturday mornings and clean the house together. Like all of that stuff, it creates connection.
Yeah.
And so that's what we really wanted this to be, these 5 tips to be about, is recreating connection in case you lost it in the busyness of life. So please, please, please feel free to share, like, share, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and share this message, because we're getting feedback from couples and from families where it can be a little contentious when you've been in the house 5, 6, 7 days together. And for some have been in the house longer than that. But it can be a little contentious, and we just wanted to offer some tips to help you to get through this season with a little bit of joy.
Yeah, so we'll continue praying for one another.
Yes.
And we just, before we end this podcast, this YouTube, we want to give a huge shout out to all of the folks that are on the front line in the medical community. We love you and we appreciate you. So if any of you are listening, mwah, 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 mwah,
Thank you.
we're giving a virtual hug right now, and we love you. So I'm Frank.
And I'm Sheila.
So take care, you all, and be safe.
Be well, family. Bye-bye.